Hi Ghosties, I'm Macy.
And I'm Natalie.
And although cemeteries are usually peaceful places where the dead can rest and the families can enjoy their time visiting loved ones long past, there are some you enter and can just feel an energy shift. Maybe it's the restless soul of a person buried there, not yet done on this plane of existence. Or maybe it's something much worse, summoned by the people wishing to make contact with something, anything, for a fright. In store today, we have the possible cursed land of the Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery of Oregon, the half-man, half-goat creature running through the trees of the Red Ash Cemetery in Tennessee, the dark shadow who physically attacks those who come near his grave in Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh, and the weeping woman crying from the tomb in which she was buried alive in Buenos Aires. We thought we should visit a few of those places today and talk about the hauntings that make these places known. So grab your cup of tea and prepare yourself for a fright as we dive into some of the spookiest cemeteries in the world.
Okay. I'm
coming out strong.
I'm not liking this. Also, this is Petey. He's down here today.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Happy November.
Buried alive?
Possibly. Probably.
I'm not excited, but I'm excited
to learn,
I guess. Yeah.
I'm excited to tell you because these are very spooky. This is an episode I started writing a long time ago and it's been done for a little bit.
It has.
So it's been a while. Like I've been holding on to these, waiting. And I love a good haunted cemetery.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. You know how I feel about that. Also, I'm excited to try our tea today.
Yes. Our tea today was suggested by Melanie. So thank you so much, Melanie. As soon as you commented that, I went out and purchased it online and sent Natalie a screenshot and was like, This is coming. So it's Tazo Glazed lemon loaf.
It smells really good.
It does.
It smells like something that I would have as a candle.
Yeah.
It smells good. And it rhymes, I think Kayla would like this.
Oh, every time lemon, you think Kayla, yeah.
Kayla is a lemon.
So Kayla, we'll share you. Okay, we'll share with you next time I see you.
I didn't mean that as an insult. She just is a lemon. No, but okay, I'm done. Let's go.
You see, I'm not a lemon person. That is so good.
It's really good.
It tastes like dessert in a cup. A little cream in that would be just superb.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very dessertish. It's very sweet. I like it. I didn't even put that much sugar this time.
No, me neither.
Like I usually do. It's really, I like
sweet. It's delicious. Yeah, that's a good one.
And I love a lemon loaf.
Me too.
Do.
Well,
so thank you.
Actually, I don't. I mean,
okay, liar.
I like occasionally. I have to be in the mood, and they're good. I just have to be in the mood, and because I'm not a very lemony person. Also, before we get started, I just wanted to check in. How's everyone doing? How did spooky season treat you? Because we are glad it happened, but I think we're also glad it's over. It was a little busy time for us.
Yeah,
but
I'm very...
Natalie took a nap for 2 days straight.
I did. I'm coming back from being... I don't know if I was actually sick. I might have just been exhausted. I came home from work on Friday at 3, got into bed, woke up yesterday at 7 p.m., told everyone, hey, I'm alive, and then woke back up at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's okay. It's
as
probably
long
not.
As you feel okay now, I think it's fine.
I took some medicine. I'm doing okay.
But anyway, I just wanted to check in on everybody. Just see how you're doing. It's been a long year.
November's looking kind of scary.
Yeah, we'll see. I also wanted to take the time to mention that holiday season's coming up. Lots of things are happening, especially in America and, just all over the world. Maybe if you're able to, maybe donate to your local food bank because we did and we are glad that we did, and just help your neighbors.
Yeah.
Especially during, holiday season.
I think that's always a good rule to live by.
Yeah.
Just help people. Because why not? It doesn't take anything away from you.
Oh my gosh, now you've got the Hillary Duff song stuck in my head.
Why not?
Take a crazy chance.
Good song.
All right, another little...
I like the way you say things, though. You're a lot more graceful. I feel very angry and
you're
enraged
aggressive
all the time. And then you're like, love thy neighbor. And I'm like, just do it!
Because...
Just share!
In my point of view of life, and what I feel that my religion and the way I practice my religion teaches me is to always lead with love. Even if you're mad, you can be upset with someone, and still be loving. And that's just how I feel.
I'm leading with love. It's just
It's a different form of love.
It doesn't come across the way it does with you. So I admire that, because if I
Thank
would have
you.
just said that, I would have been like, get up, get out there, and help everyone out. But
They
you're
would
like,
have felt your hand come through and grab them by their
feel the love.
shirt.
The scruff of their neck like a dog. Yeah.
Anyway, another little tidbit. First being, please do not go to any of these cemeteries to disrespect or vandalize the graves or the surrounding area. I read story after story after story of trees and tombstones being spray painted, graves being completely desecrated, and statues being destroyed. Remember, these are the final resting places of real people who had real lives, and some still today have real families that would like to come and remember their loved ones in a place that is serene and beautiful, not broken apart and run down because someone felt destructive.
That is heartbreaking.
It was very sad. Ghost stories are fun, and I'm sure getting out there at night for a dark paranormal investigation is thrilling, particularly when you capture some kind of evidence, but it is never, and I mean never, okay to destroy a place, especially somewhere that people go to mourn people they loved. I always tell my kids to leave somewhere how you found it, be it at the beach, a walking trail, someone's home. It doesn't matter. You should always leave the places you visit the same or better than when you came to it, and cemeteries, that also applies.
Heck yeah.
Also, when you are visiting a cemetery, please do not sit on gravestones, do not stand on or lean against markers and statues, do not carve into or paint graves or their markers, do not mark up trees or any other piece of nature surrounding the cemetery. I don't think any of you guys would disrespect a place like that. Not here at Ghosties, but
No.
I just needed to say this because I really did. I saw a lot of very horrible videos of like heads being taken off of angel statues and spray paint on people's graves and paint poured all over the place and trash left everywhere. It was very sad.
That
And
is horrible.
just don't do it. Just respect people, respect places, be respectful and kind.
I would like to believe that it is kids that don't know any better.
I would like to believe that too. So if you are a kid,
We do have some children that watch.
yeah,
So shout out.
if you're a kid and you're going to look at some cemeteries, just be kind and be respectful because these are places for people
Real
and their
people.
loved ones.
Yeah.
With that,
Now let's get scared.
down note, we'll move on. So we're starting here in the U.S., about a 50-minute drive southwest of Portland, Oregon, in the Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery. It was established in the 1850s, just after the town of Lafayette was founded, and served as the final resting place for several of the early settlers of the area. Many of the headstones date back to the 1850s and 60s, and it definitely has an old feel about it. The first burial was for a young girl named Henrietta Hodges, whose family came by wagon from Wisconsin to start a new life while many families were making their way west. The land for the cemetery was officially purchased by some local leaders of the new town in 1874. The 4.5 acres bought for about $100. The townspeople wanted to ensure that the land would remain a proper burial ground for those in their community, enduring the many hardships that came with relocating to a new area and starting over. It became a historic site and remains a beautiful piece of history to the area, but some claim there is something more to this cemetery. Some claim it is incredibly haunted. There is a lot of reported activity, like sightings of shadow figures within the cemetery gates, unexplained cold spots, whispers on the wind as people walk through, and an intense feeling of being watched while walking inside. Many visitors to the Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery have reported walking through and suddenly getting that sinking feeling that eyes are on them, even if they're completely alone. They have heard footsteps following along with them from grave to grave as they make their way through. It's said that those feelings, as if the people who used to call this area home and are now buried beneath the land are watching, are strongest at twilight, when the light is gently sweeping over the tombstones, softly touching each surface before full light or full darkness. And the feelings vary from person to person, from visit to visit. It can sometimes be a warm feeling, as if you're being looked after, a comfort in an otherwise eerie place that leads them safely through the grounds and along their way. Others have claimed it was much more sinister, a feeling that they couldn't shake even after exiting the cemetery and making their way back to their vehicles. I read something introduced and immediately moved on from, that there may be an entity that attacks people in the cemetery, but there wasn't much more about it. Like literally I read an article and it was like, and also people get attacked. Anyway, it's like, what do you
Care
mean?
to elaborate?
You'll
What?
just have to keep an eye out on that if you go for a visit.
No, thank you. I'm good, actually.
But there is another spirit, one described as more playful, that likes to perform harmless pranks on visitors to their grave. Some people have reported feeling a gentle tug on their shirt or a light tap on their arms. People have heard children playing and the soft sounds of giggling ripple through the quiet, empty cemetery. And oftentimes, people have noticed small items have been moved, like stones or flowers near graves. There is another phenomena that seems to happen very often, and that is strange lights and orbs have been seen not only within photos taken while there, but also right before their eyes while walking through. But there is one spirit, or spirits, that the cemetery is most known for, and that is the ghost of a woman who roams the grounds, occasionally laughing hysterically as visitors walk along. There are many versions to the legend of the woman who haunts the Lafayette Pioneer Cemetery. Some claim a suspected witch was executed near the grounds, and so she remains here laughing, watching, and some even claim talking to visitors. There have been reports of seeing an older woman wearing Victorian-era clothing wandering within, and many have felt her presence, and a few have even heard her voice telling them to run home on recordings they have of the place. This could even be the spirit that attacks visitors, because some have claimed to be chased out of the cemetery by her, noticing cuts on their backs when they finally make it out. One of the strangest reports of activity that is believed to be linked to the so-called witch is that she can change the weather. Some have claimed that while there at the cemetery, the weather will drastically change, even if not forecast to do so, making a hot, sunny summer day turn to a dreary, cold, and rainy one in the blink of an eye. Now, this could just be that weather is weird and you can never know exactly what's to come, but I watched a video of people who claimed it had been sunny and mild, but as soon as they arrived, like they put their vehicle in park at the cemetery, it became very cold and you could see rain suddenly just pouring down just over the cemetery area.
That would be my cue to leave. I would not get out of the car.
It was very weird.
That's insane.
They were like, look, like nowhere else is raining. It was just like right there on top of the cemetery.
No thanks.
There are claims that the woman could be someone who lived in Lafayette many years ago. Some believe it's the ghost of Lena Imus, who took her own life by ingesting carbolic acid over a century ago and was buried in the Pioneer Cemetery. She is also known to haunt her old home, which is now a local winery. Then there is another woman named Anna Marple, though it's unclear if she actually was a witch, and she wasn't executed for being one. So, historically. She moved to town with her son Richard Marple and his wife Julia. It's claimed that Richard had a hard time finding work and was suspected of multiple robberies between 1885 and 1886. The story continues that Anna Marple began seeing a local business owner named David Corker. It's unknown the nature of their relationship, but David was found murdered in his own store in November of 1886. Quickly, Anna's son Richard was suspected of the crime and brought in for questioning. He maintained his innocence, but didn't have many nice words for the man. Evidence of the crime, like a bloody shirt and tools that seemed as though they could have been used to break into the store, were found in Richard's home, and he was arrested for the murder. Richard claimed the evidence was planted, but he was eventually convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. Anna was suspected of being an accomplice, but no one could ever prove her involvement. A year later, Richard was hung next to the county jail. Some reports claim his death was not instant, and his mother was there, cursing the town to burn for killing her son. She moved towns and was not buried in the cemetery. Coincidentally or not, the town did burn down. Twice. Not long after Richard's execution. Was it the curse? Does Anna still remain here today? We'll never truly know, but people continue seeing someone within the old burial ground. And I have a couple of little stories.
I believe it.
Do you?
I believe that
cursed the town?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Even if she wasn't, like some type of
witchcraft
witchy person, if you are feeling strongly enough, I think people are capable of like a lot of things. That may sound really crazy of me to say. I think you can tap into something. If you're angry enough or feeling strongly enough in any way, I think you can make things happen.
I think that's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, me too.
I drove an hour away to come here at 3 a.m. We barely made it through the entrance before hearing some woman laugh. It's 3 a.m. No one would be there laughing. I suddenly felt my chest get super tight, almost hard to breathe. I'm really susceptible to ghosts and spirits. I don't know why, but I've always been sensitive to the other side. When my chest got tight, I knew that my guardian angel or friendly spirit was trying to rip me back, not to go in. I could have sworn I heard a voice in my head that said, "Don't." And so I left. We ran back to the car, and when I was running, I could almost feel someone right behind me breathing on me. Whoever that witch is, she knew I was sensitive to spirits and wanted to mess with me hard. I'm glad I got out of there while I had the chance.
The correct response. I have no notes.
Oh, if you feel it in your chest, your stomach, we always say, trust your gut.
Go away.
Leave.
Yep.
Leave. Long ago, my buddies and I heard about it and decided to go late at night. Spent a bit of time there, kept feeling like something was watching us. We tried to get her to talk to us and tried to ruffle her feathers a bit. found where we think she died and was buried. We began taunting her to get an answer. No words. But one buddy said something that must have pissed her off because he ended up getting grabbed so hard between his left shoulder and collarbone that he fell to his knees in the grass. There was no one visible around him, and when we looked at where he was grabbed, I kid you not, bro had a deep black handprint that, by flashlight, looked black and dark red. We decided it was time to leave. Right before we left, she blew on my neck and we spun around, and there she was, her apparition. Scared us so bad we took off running.
Well, you got what you were asking for, so I don't know why you're upset.
Also, don't taunt.
I mean, you
Horribly sad.
You went there looking for that to happen, and then you taunted her, so I'm not mad at her.
I don't like the, grab.
No,
That
me
freaked
neither,
me out a
but
lot.
they were asking for it, in my opinion. So,
True.
they got what they were looking for.
Yeah.
Proof and interaction. That's crazy. Why would you do that?
I don't know. I would never.
No.
I mean, we went to a cemetery just to have a look around and
I got
literally, yeah.
Yeah, no. I don't like that.
So staying in the States for this next one, we have the Turley Cemetery, also known as the Red Ash Cemetery in Caryville, Tennessee. It's not only the cemetery that seems to be haunted, but the entire 8 to 10 mile stretch of road that used to be the location of an old mining town. At one point, this area was a booming coal town, but now it's a desolate stretch of road with little bits remaining, reminding those passing by of what used to be. The cemetery itself has graves dating back to the late 1800s and several graves that were relocated during the 1934 Norris Dam relocation project. Like any abandoned old town, there is an air of mystery and unfinished business. Many believe the spirits of the miners and their families who worked and lost their lives here still remain today, as well as possibly a demonic entity or creature. Apparently, just driving along the road by the cemetery may be enough for some to experience a haunting or two. Strange blue lights have been seen floating along the road and over the train tracks right outside. There are old coal towers that some have reported seeing a man fall from at night, some even claiming to hear a faint scream in the wind, only for him to vanish before he hits the ground. The old office that still remained nearby had many reports of furniture moving on its own inside, and that stifling feeling of not being alone within. There are also reports of ghost trains making their way down the tracks at night, though those claims came from sites reporting that the tracks were not running, and I know that the trains still do make their way through that area, because I literally watched a video of someone there and a train drove by.
Okay.
So it could just actually be a train. But once you make your way into the cemetery, people have claimed that it can get a little more intense for some visitors. Like with the first cemetery, many people have had several strange and unexplainable encounters within, including shadow figures and sounds of crying at night that seem to be coming from near one of the graves. Some people claim that this could belong to one of the people who are buried, and many believe that she, too, like in the first location, was a witch. She is said to have been seen crying by her grave at night, but one story took it a little further than that. As they walked through the small cemetery, they heard the quiet whimpering, so they walked towards the sound. They could just barely see through the darkness a woman leaned against a grave, crying. They called out to her, but she didn't answer. Instead, the crying stopped, and it became eerily silent in the midst of all the trees and graves. After a few tense seconds, she stood up and turned to face them. It's reported she had glowing green eyes as she stared at them and began walking towards them. That walk turned into a jog, which turned into a run as they began to flee the cemetery. It's claimed she was moving so fast it looked as though she were flying through the air after them, disappearing as she approached and as they made their way over the hill out of the cemetery.
Horrifying. Horrifying. You know how I feel about running.
Oh, yeah. That's so fast that it's like, was it Hocus Pocus where her feet are dragging the ground?
Ooh, yes.
Many people leave coins on her grave as a sign of respect, and it's said you should never remove a coin from her grave because you won't like the outcome. The scariest legend to come from this cemetery is said to also be related to the witch's grave, though obviously unsubstantiated. There are many variations to the legend, but either way, it has the same result. It's said that if you disrespect the grave or cemetery as a whole, you may come face to face with an 8-foot-tall, half-man, half-goat creature. He is said to run out of the woods, though nobody sees him coming until he is right there, after you, and you better hope you make it out. Some believe he has demonic ties to the buried witch. Others believe he may be something left over by the rumored occult practitioners that have used this area for summoning. See, okay, being there at night and seeing something like that come out of the woods, I don't know that I'd make it. Like, truthfully, I think
I might die on the spot.
just down.
I might have died on the spot.
Not
Yeah.
there anymore.
Yeah. I might just explode.
That's very scary. So here is a story of someone there. I know it sounds crazy, but just walking up to the graveyard has made my stomach absolutely drop every time. And not in like a nervous way. It's a feeling that I can't explain. And everyone that I've asked feels instantly uneasy when they get out of their car too. There really is a woman buried there from the 1800s that was said to be a witch, and there is always money there, but I would never touch it. I can't say I have seen her, but I swear I've heard her cries. One time, we could have sworn we heard someone scream at us to leave, and then we all felt such a bad aura that we did. But some of my friends that have gone had terrifying experiences. Like after one girl got back in her car, she had scratches all over her body. Oh, and the red eyes. That's a very common sight from almost everyone.
I mean, even if I didn't feel anything, if I heard someone yell leave while I'm in a cemetery, I'm gone.
You got it.
No questions. We're gone.
Yeah. See, okay, so this one was a cemetery that did have a lot of graffiti and a lot of destruction in it.
No.
Very sad old cemetery. People try to go and clean it up.
Yeah.
The witches, the supposed witch's grave is also like tampered with a lot. If you're going there, I mean, the odds of her actually being a witch and not just someone either one accused of witchcraft and wasn't even doing anything, was just a woman
Living.
or two was just a story made up,
Yeah.
later on by people wanting a spooky time in the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Just please don't touch people's graves.
I agree.
Sorry, like reading about all of this and seeing all the pictures just really like amped me up. It got me really upset.
I mean, I agree.
If you can't tell, I've like mentioned it like 5 times. So we're making our way across the ocean to our next location, to Greyfriars Kirkyard in Edinburgh, Scotland. The site of this graveyard got its name from the pre-Reformation Franciscan monastery that used to call this land home. They wore grey robes, ergo Greyfriars.
Oh.
The friars were forced out in 1558, and the friary was torn down in 1560, and the burial ground was opened in 1562 under the reign of Mary, Queen of Scots, when the cemetery of St. Giles became overcrowded, and they needed a new location for the area's deceased. It was once located outside the city, but like with many other cities and cemeteries all over the world, the city expanded, putting the burial ground kind of in the middle of all of it. The cemetery contains about 700 graves, but it's estimated that thousands of people are buried within, many with unmarked graves. A little fun fact, it's thought that many of the graves within the cemetery are thought to have inspired the names of characters in Harry Potter, like Potter, McGonagall, Scrimgeour, Crookshanks, Moody, and Tom Riddle.
What?
There is a Thomas Riddle grave in Greyfriars. And
interesting.
The author of Harry Potter did kind of sit around Edinburgh, around the graveyard while they were writing, so.
That is very interesting. I would love if, like, I died and someone saw my name and was like, oh, I'm going to write a book.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's really cool.
What the graveyard is really known for, and may be the source of many of the hauntings, comes from the mid-1600s and the Covenanters. The Covenanters were members of a political and religious movement. They were those who supported the Presbyterian Church of Scotland. They signed the National Covenant in Greyfriars Kirk on February 28, 1638, making themselves considered traitors to the crown by the king. They disputed the king's power that he was wielding over the church and the changes that were being made. They didn't believe the king had the authority to make changes to the doctrine and structure of the church, and believed their primary allegiance went to God, and their signing and beliefs led to years of violence and battle between the two until the 1690 settlement. Many Covenanters were killed in this period. One of these battles that ended in their defeat at Bothwell Brig in 1679 led to over 1,000 Covenanters being imprisoned at Greyfriars Kirkyard. It's summarized well on a plaque outside of the kirkyard that I'll read now. Quote, "Behind these gates lies part of the southern section of the Greyfriars Kirkyard, which was used in 1679 as a prison for over 1,000 supporters of the National Covenant who had been defeated by government forces at the Battle of Bothwell Brig on the 22nd of June. For over 4 months, these men were held here without any shelter, each man being allowed 4 ounces of bread a day. Kindly citizens were sometimes able to give them more food. Some of the prisoners died here. Some were tried and executed for treason, some escaped, and some were freed after signing a bond of loyalty to the crown. All those who were prospected and died for their support of the National Covenant in the reigns of Charles II and James VII are commemorated by the Martyrs' Memorial on the northeastern wall of the kirkyard. The covenant, which was first signed in Greyfriars Kirk in 1638, promised to defend Presbyterianism from intervention by the crown. In November 1679, the remaining 257 men who had been sentenced to transportation overseas were taken to Leith and placed on board a ship bound for the American colonies. Nearly all were drowned when the ship was wrecked in the Orkney Islands, where there is a monument in their memory as well. But 48 of the prisoners survived. The section of the kirkyard used to imprison the Covenanters lay outside the existing south wall and included the area now covered by buildings on Forest Row. The area behind the gate was laid out for burials in 1705 and contains many fine monuments, but these did not exist at the time of the prison. So it was just like an open air, like in the rain, in the sleet, in like the weather.
The elements.
The elements, yeah.
Yeah.
These men were held.
Oh, wow.
Given very, very small amounts of food every day. Tortured.
Man,
even.
we just recorded the Patreon episode. We're talking about a lot of darkness and sadness today.
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm feeling real heavy. Thank you.
The men kept here were tortured and kept in very poor conditions. They were held by the Lord Advocate for the Scottish government, Sir George Bloody Mackenzie. He was given the nickname Bloody Mackenzie because of the horror and mistreatment he inflicted on the men during their imprisonment, and today his grave, or really a large black domed mausoleum where his remains reside today, seems to be the source of one of the most nefarious and active haunts. But before we move on to some of the hauntings of the area, I did want to mention a couple more things about the graveyard because it's very interesting. The first being the Greyfriars Bothy. It was a watchtower built years ago to allow family members and guards to watch over freshly dug graves at night and keep body snatchers away. It was a huge problem in the 1800s, as many of you may know, as people would steal them, either using them for themselves or selling them to medical schools to perform dissections.
That's so crazy that the term body snatcher is even a thing.
A thing, yeah. Not only was there a watchtower, but several of the graves had bars installed over top called mort safes, so they couldn't get into the coffin underground as easily. You can still see the graves with the bars today, and most creepy of all, the Bothy contains a small collection of cursed dolls. So if you aren't a little scared going into a haunted cemetery, now you'd have even more to keep an eye on.
Dolls?
Yeah,
Why?
there's like a few little haunted dolls sitting in the Bothy.
Okay, why?
I don't know. Someone has their little collection there.
Oh, that's comforting.
Lastly, there is one small grave near the graveyard that gets extra special attention by visitors. That is the grave of Greyfriars Bobby. Bobby was the local companion, aka terrier, that belonged to police officer John Gray. He followed his owner everywhere, but sadly, when the pup was just 2 years old, John passed away and was buried in Greyfriars Kirkyard in 1858. After John's death, Bobby remained by his side, sleeping next to his grave and always returning to it throughout the next of the 14 years of his life.
Why would you tell me this?
Because it's cute.
It's really sad.
After he passed, he was buried nearby, though not right next to John because animals are not allowed to be buried on consecrated ground.
Why?
The church says so. I don't know.
Ugh.
And remains a beloved staple in the cemetery today. You can see him when you're walking in. They have like a little memorial and statue for him, and people leave sticks and balls and stuff for him.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Oh, that was my next sentence. Many visitors will bring a nice stick or ball or treat for little Bobby when they visit, and he may still be lurking through the graves today. Some have claimed to hear a barking noise in the graveyard at night and have seen what looks like a little dog walking among the graves out of the corner of their eyes.
I like that his name is Bobby.
He's little Bobby.
That's so cute. Oh, that hurts. Thank you for that horrible, horrible detail.
The hauntings in this cemetery are numerous, but the main attraction for paranormal activity seems to center around the Black Mausoleum of Bloody Mackenzie. There had always been reports of strange activity and ghostly sightings around the mausoleum, but nothing too dark or frightening. Well, unless you count the story of a child from a nearby school hiding in the mausoleum for hours. Once found, he was completely hysterical, sobbing, and incapable of speaking on whatever he endured while inside. What really seemed to kick off the most notorious and darkest of haunts was not long after this incident. Something happened in the late 90s that increased the activity exponentially and may have released something darker and more dangerous. A local to the area, down on their luck and without a home, walked into the kirkyard late into the night, looking for a safe place to sleep until morning. Storms were rolling through Edinburgh, and the first thing he thought was that he needed to get somewhere to keep himself dry. So when he walked up to the large rounded structure, there wasn't a second thought in his mind before he broke in and finally released the breath he had been holding, thinking he'd be caught in the rain. He followed a narrow staircase that led down deeper into the small building, thinking this would be a better spot to wait out the night, settled in at the bottom. Suddenly, The floor broke apart, sending him all the way down, where he found himself in a pile of bones. So many bones. He screamed, kicked, and pushed himself away, trying to get out. He reached up to where he had been standing just seconds before and was able to pull himself up and out. He didn't look back and thought the rain would be a better companion than whoever lived down in that grave. But some believe that his crash into the pile of bones may have awoken something dark and mischievous. Some believe it could even be the Mackenzie poltergeist.
Oh no.
People touring the graveyard began to report so much more activity than typical groups did before. Many people were now feeling very hot or freezing cold spots around the mausoleum. Then reports of being touched by something unseen began to pile up. Their hands, arms, backs, and faces would display welts, scrapes, and even deep scratches after leaving the area that couldn't be explained. Sometimes they'd be in spots that people couldn't possibly have reached themselves. The energy around the crypt and old prison area were oppressive and near dangerous. Some people couldn't bear to be around it for more than seconds, and some of those who decided to stay would faint if not physically pushed away. In late 1999, a minister and medium named Colin Grant took it upon himself to exorcise the kirkyard and rid the area of the dark presence. He immediately felt the negative energy as soon as he arrived at the Black Mausoleum. He spent hours going through his rituals and attempting to cast out any shadows plaguing the area. A local reporter was with him while he undertook the task and even may have captured a photo of Mackenzie in a window behind the man. So here's the picture. So that's zoomed in right here behind him.
Oh no.
That dark shadow.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Very creepy.
Every time we've taken a photo anywhere we've gone, I've wanted to see something.
I know, but also scared.
Honestly, if I saw something, what do I do now?
I don't know.
What do I do?
It's said that after the long exorcism, Grant made a comment about his exorcism being the death of him. It didn't seem serious to those who heard it. Of course, they thought that it had just been a long night and he may be exhausted from the spiritual work. But just a few months later, Grant had a heart attack that he did not survive.
Okay.
So it begs the question, was it simply poor timing and a coincidental offhand comment, or had George Mackenzie taken yet another life? Is it really the ghost of Mackenzie causing all of this trouble, or could there be something darker and much scarier calling the land of so much suffering home? There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of reports of physical attacks on visitors who get too close to the Mackenzie poltergeist. The old prison is now only accessible via tour, and the mausoleum is, of course, closed off to the public, but the activity still remains. Photo evidence has been captured of things lurking among the graves. Unexplainable sounds and smells have been encountered by those who walk through the kirkyard still today. A shadow figure, just like the one in the photo of Grant, has been spotted on many occasions. We may never truly know who or what is causing so much harm and trouble in Greyfriars Kirkyard, but it probably doesn't help matters that in the early 2000s, a couple of teens broke into the Black Mausoleum and stole a human skull said to belong to Mackenzie before being caught by a group on a ghost tour.
Why? Why? What are you going to do with it?
That
what are you going
happened
to do with the skull?
In New Orleans, too.
Yeah. What are you going to do with the skull?
I don't
Truly
know. I think that's insane.
I'll never understand.
No, it's
desecrating,
crazy.
Stealing, doing anything what is the reason? You're asking to be cursed or put in jail. Or both.
Or both. I'd say both.
I'd say both.
Okay, so the last of the haunted cemeteries we will talk about today is located in Buenos Aires, Argentina. La Recoleta is the final resting place of some of Argentina's most famous and popular figures in culture and politics. But it is also known as one of the most haunted cemeteries in all of South America. The cemetery was the first public cemetery in the city, established in 1822. It spans over 14 acres today, a sprawling city of tombs with more than 4,500 above-ground vaults and over 6,000 bodies buried in its gates. And if you look at pictures, I saw one particular picture of the cemetery in the foreground, and it's kind of from above, and then the city in the background, and it looks like the city and then a very small city.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have you seen Zootopia and there's
Yes.
the mouse world or whatever? It looks like that.
Yes.
It's like a city and then a small city of just graves.
That's interesting.
The way it's planned out. Sorry to relate to Zootopia. Many of the graves are protected as National Historic Monuments by the Argentine government. Before the land was used to house the dead, it was an orchard that belonged to a monastery of Franciscan monks called the Recoleta Fathers, and they are also where it got its name. The cemetery is beautiful and built as if it is its own city, with walkways that lead around like city blocks full of marble figures and beautifully designed mausoleums. Some of Argentina's most famous citizens, Nobel Prize winners, authors, socialites, former presidents, and the most famous grave of Eva Evita Perón, a beloved former First Lady of Argentina. She's also the inspiration behind the musical Evita.
Yeah.
But it is also known for being incredibly haunted, with several spirits known to be walking down the paths and around the graves of this famed cemetery. Many people visit Evita's grave, even till this day. Like, she always has flowers on her grave.
Yeah, that's cool.
Many visitors to this famed cemetery have reported strange activity while walking through. Lights will come from inside of the tombs and vaults when nobody is inside before vanishing right before their eyes. People have heard voices and whispers that sound so close, but they know they're the only ones in the area. Cold spots are, of course, numerous, and some people have even claimed to be touched, tugged on, or even pushed by disembodied hands while in the cemetery. Shadows have been spotted darting between tombs, and several compelling EVPs have been captured by investigators. There are a great many spirits known to haunt their graves, but there are 3 notable ghosts I wanted to tell you about today. The first is David Aleno, or Ayeno. He was a gravedigger and caretaker in the cemetery for more than 30 years and seemed to enjoy his job. He purchased his own plot, determined to be buried in the beautiful cemetery that he spent so much of his time in, and commissioned his own statue to watch over his final resting place. Once it was all completed, he took his own life. Some even say it was inside of his own tomb. His spirit is said to have never left La Recoleta. People have heard his heavy footsteps near his grave, as well as his keys jangling about, as if he is still walking around and tending to the graves, making sure that the cemetery is still up to his standards. Though no one has ever seen him, they hear him quite often.
That's really awful. I wasn't expecting it to go there.
Now again, that's legend. So.
I thought it was going to be like, oh, and he just so happened to pass away.
Yeah,
naturally.
This is legend, so I don't know if that is 100% true, but yeah.
Oof, that's heavy.
People do hear his keys jangling all the time when there's nobody around.
I mean, at least he got the resting place he wanted, I guess.
That he wanted, yeah.
Woo.
Of course, we couldn't get through an episode about haunted cemeteries without mentioning a woman in white. It's been a while, honestly.
Yeah.
It all began when one night a young man was walking home very late, and he passed by La Recoleta. He noticed a pretty young girl standing out in the cold in nothing but a white dress. He offered his coat to her, attempting to help, and not long after he gave her his jacket, they went their separate ways. The next day, however, the man finds his jacket draped over the tomb of a young woman near where he saw the woman in the white. As he bent down to retrieve the coat, he realized that there was an image of the person buried, and it looked exactly like the woman he had let wear his coat the night before. There are 2 theories today as to who the spirit could be. The first is believed to be the widow of a man who was buried in La Recoleta. It's said she spent day after day and night after night crying inconsolably in the cemetery for her beloved until she passed away. Her soul is still there, roaming the graves, as she did in life. Others believe that it could be the ghost of Luz Maria Garcia Veloso. She was a 15-year-old girl who is said to have died from leukemia in 1925 and was buried in a large cemetery. She still walks around her grave, not finished with the life she left behind. Regardless of the theories, nobody knows for sure who she is, but many have claimed to see the young woman in white all through the cemetery.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Lastly, we'll talk about one of the most well-known spirits with a tragic backstory. One evening in 1902, 19-year-old Rufina Cambraceras was getting ready to go to dinner with her family. It was a total shock when her parents found her still and lifeless on the ground as they were calling out to her to leave for the night. They called for a doctor, but she was pronounced dead with no discernible reason as to what could have happened. She seemed perfectly healthy just hours before she was found. They made plans for her service, dressed her in her best clothes, and laid her to rest in the family tomb. Right after her funeral, a heavy storm rolled in, which made it difficult for the family to visit after the burial. The cemetery staff, while checking through the cemetery and making sure the storm hadn't affected any of the grave sites, thought they could hear noises coming from Rufina's resting place. They made note to go check it out in a bit to make sure an animal hadn't gotten in or something. When he eventually made it back to Rufina, he noticed that the lid to her coffin was ajar. He placed it back and called the family to let them know there had been some kind of disturbance. The family was afraid that grave robbers may have attempted to steal some of Rufina's nice jewelry that she was buried with, so they requested to open her casket to check on their beloved daughter. The next day, they lifted open the top. The family and staff were horrified to find that there were scratch marks all over the inside of the coffin and on her face. It turns out she had a condition that caused her to appear deceased but really she was in a comatose state. She had apparently woken up inside the coffin, panicked, and may have died from a heart attack in the dark. Her mother was completely distraught after this and built her an ornate mausoleum with a statue on the front. The woman is said to look just like Rufina, walking out the door, allowing her the escape that she attempted. Today, many people have claimed to see Rufina, moaning and wailing through the cemetery, grieving her death all those years ago. People have seen her walking through the area where she is buried, before disappearing altogether, and many have heard her cries in the night while visiting. And there are some who have even claimed to see the statue on her mausoleum crying real tears.
That is so
Tragic.
freaking sad and disturbing. And that's
Yeah.
what we're ending on?
That's the end. That was
You little rat.
the 4 haunted cemeteries of the day. There were so many
my
to choose from too.
gosh. That is so sad. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and her mausoleum is so beautiful.
I'm
You
glad.
can see it. I hope that that's all legend,
Me too.
and she just happened to die at 19 for
And they just
some
built
other
her
yeah, and she
something
just has
beautiful.
something beautiful, and a story was made up around it. I really, 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 really hope.
Me too. Me too, because that is awful. I can't imagine, one, passing that way. That is so scary and so traumatizing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
two, if you're the parents, the guilt. Even though it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, but just
Oh my gosh.
knowing that happened.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
Yikes. Thank you.
Anyway, those are 4 haunted cemeteries from all over the world. Let us know if there's a haunted cemetery that you would like us to talk about, or if you've had an experience in a haunted cemetery. You can actually send us an email. It's ghostiespod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it. As we usually do, Thursday we'll have another listener stories episode, and I'd love to do a haunted cemeteries episode, like just
Me too.
cemetery themed.
Me too, because those always freak me out.
Me,
Especially
too.
people that work at cemeteries.
Oh yeah,
They have the best stories.
I agree. Oh, if you ever go on Reddit and find a
Mm.
whole thread, oh yeah, it's so good, so scary.
That's like one of our like scariest stories we ever told was the person that heard the voice from within the crypt.
Oh yeah,
That one still gets me.
I think that was like Angelica or something.
Something.
Their coworker or something heard that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so scary. Anyway, yeah, you can send us your stories. Like this video if you liked it. Share it with your friends if you feel compelled to do so. And please subscribe for more. We've got another episode coming on Thursday. If you want more ghosties, we just put out a Patreon episode today. It's over the Walls unit in Huntsville, Texas. Also very dark
Very dark.
and sad, but very scary.
Yeah, it was a good one, but
So you can check out our Patreon,
Heavy.
patreon.com/ghosties. Yeah, it was very heavy.
we've been doing a lot of heavy stuff over on Patreon. So if you want to feel
If you want to be really freaked,
crazy, go to Patreon.
next week it shouldn't be a very heavy episode.
Okay.
I'm really excited about next week. I haven't started it yet, and I'm excited to get started on it.
Okay. I'm excited.
If you're listening on audio, please leave us 5 stars. That would be greatly appreciated, and make sure that you are following us for more. If you're still here, leave an emoji, a grave, like a tombstone. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
one of
there's an
those.
emoji of those.
And don't forget, if you have the means, you have the ability, help your neighbors out. Donate, go to your local food bank, see what they need, and they're more than willing to help. I know a lot of people are going to need a little extra help this year, and with like I said, the holiday season approaching,
Mhm.
it's just a nice way to give back if you're capable of doing so. So
Agreed.
other than that, we will see you on Thursday.
Goodbye.